Hey, Shalom, Akim. First and foremost, call hello, Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushua, Ba'ashim, Wadash. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and deserve double honors. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim out there on the highways and byways, pushing the truth, all right, across the four corners of the earth, trying to wake up the remaining, hopefully elect. All right, that's what we're out here trying to do. All right, whether they're here or forbear, we're out there on the highways and byways doing what we were called to do. All right. So again, we have, I'm sure as everyone's aware, the professional victims of the world, you know, the ones pretending to be us, the Israelis. All right. It's interesting because the more you see, the more that they're telling on themselves, actually, for those that are able to see. But, you know, this is the video I'm about to play is a segment from Democracy Now! That aired today. And you have this Israeli, all right. Actually, when we talk about, every time we bring out the scriptures, Psalm 64 and 8, about them telling on themselves, well, this is a prime example, all right. So no matter what they do, all right, it's coming out. And the way they set the Iranians up, and then they walked right into it. And what I mean by that, there was an interview that Lester Holt, for those of you who don't know, it's Jake that, my goodness, if you just to hear his voice, you might think he was, you know, an Edomite, you know. I think he's out of Chicago. I think his son is a reporter / anchor now too. But anyway, so he interviewed this official from Iran. And the thing was, I don't know if you've also heard about the Biden administration released $6 billion that was held up. That was Iran's money, you know, so supposedly they were allowed to do this so they could get, you know, humanitarian, you know, medicine, things of that nature, food, whatever have you. And in the interview, the guy said, and that's why I think it was a setup, because Lester Holt, you know, went back and just kept stressing. He said, well, you mean to say that, well, let me tell you what the guy said in response. He said, well, yes, the money was released to us, but we are the ones who determine how that money is going to be used. And this bing, bing, bing went off in my head. Oh, why did you say that? And then it was just a matter of days when this shit happened, you know. So that was all a setup, all right. So they would have an excuse and a means to also what people aren't talking about. They try to get all these people out of here. This is just a means of getting those, say, you know, the so-called black Hebrew Israelites that live in Dimona. That's a supposedly a nuclear weapons site, at least the making of them. That's where they have been living for decades. Wow. Shows you what they think of you. And anyway, also, you have this area that a couple of million at least people are just crowded in. That's really, when you think about it, it's a concentration camp. The Gaza Strip, all that, all right? And there's this constant contention. And it's never gone right since 1948 because those people know you do not belong there. All right? The imperialist nature of the Edomites, the Khazars, all right? And the Rothschilds, of course, are behind all this, all right? Because ever since the late 19th century, they had been eyeing that, all right? Hey, we got to go all out. We have to play this role, and that's what they've been doing. So everybody, not so much now, but at least up until, let's just give it 20 years, 30 years, more people are saying, you know what? You know, or at least they're admitting it publicly. No, those are not the people. Those are not the real, you know, Hebrew Israelites. All right. And more and more people are waking up to this fact. But we're going to go ahead on and talk enough. We're going to go ahead and roll this video just to set up what you're going to see here. And like I said, this is a beautiful time to be alive because you're seeing the downfall of your enemies. Sirach 25:7. Here we go. Hold on. All right, here we go.
Where do we go from here? By Sandman. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. A textbook case of genocide. Israel's been explicit about what it's carrying out in Gaza. Why isn't the world listening? That's the headline of a new piece in Jewish Currents by our next guest, Raz Siegel. He's an Israeli historian, associate professor of Holocaust and genocide studies at Stanford University, where he's also a professor in the study of Holocaust. Raz Siegel joins us now from Philadelphia. Professor Siegel, welcome to Democracy Now! Lay out your case.
Understand that the UN Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide in 1948 requires that you see special intent for genocide to happen. Quote the convention, intent to destroy a group was defined as racial, ethnic, religious, or national, as such, that is collective, not just individuals. And this intent, as we just heard, is on full display by Israeli politicians and army officers. Since 7th of October, we heard Israel's president, it's well known what the Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said on 9th of October, declaring a complete siege on Gaza, cutting off water, food, fuel, stating that we're fighting human animals and we will react accordingly. He also said that we will eliminate everything. We know that Israeli army spokesperson Daniel Hagari, for example, acknowledged one-tune destruction and said explicitly the emphasis is on damage and not on accuracy. So we're seeing this special intent on full display. Really have to say, if this is not special intent to commit genocide, I really don't know what is. So when we look at the actions,
You got the nerve to call somebody an animal, which is illegal. That's against the Geneva Convention. Going to show you, you want to call somebody an animal. How dare you? You know, that's why we know Edom is the basis. All right, you go to Job chapter 30. Job didn't even want these individuals to be, you know, with his dogs. And that's something that they are known, all right, to do. Engage in bestiality, zoophilia, you know. Got the nerve to call somebody an animal. I mean, this is the thing you have to consider. Like I said, since 1948, you stole those people's land. You just went over there and just roughshod all over them, you know, and then treated them like shit for decades upon decades now, and never expect. Well, let me get this picture. A brother put this article in the chat, and this is one of the commenters put this in there. It says, Israel, you took my land, destroyed my home, killed my innocent mother and baby sister, put the rest of us in open air prisons, starve us all, but I am the terrorist because I fought back. This is what's going on. The same formula. All right? Same thing that happened. This is a common trait amongst Edom. Look what they do with us over here. All right? This is what the police do on a small scale. All right? This is all goes back to what? Edomite / so-called white supremacy. This is the world. All right? The largest religion in the world bar none, is white supremacy. Think about it. Everything that is done, everything is in response to white supremacy. From the image, when you go to church, when you grew up, all that from 1492 on, those papal bulls, those edicts from the Catholic Church, all that was done was to spread what? Edomite / white supremacy. Think about it. First Maccabees 3:48, about them putting their images in the book. Let's get it real quick. That's all this is. Don't get swayed by all the fancy talk, thinking that so much time has passed that things were changed. That's what's wrong with Jake. You honestly believe that civil rights bullshit, that even going back to the Emancipation Proclamation, all that shit that was put on paper, 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments, which none of you apparently really read, and then Jim Crow, all this was done, what? To keep us from acquiring generational wealth, because we would have had some type of power, right? Can't have that. These are niggers. You were brought over here to serve slavery, and you're going to do it in one form or the other. That's another thing that Jake doesn't talk about. All right, or doesn't even think about. Let's see. Dang it. Now I done lost my train of thought. But in any case, let's see, Joe 30. Anyway, maybe I'll come back to it. Let's go back to the video. Maybe it'll come back. Oh, that's what it was. I'm sorry. First Maccabees 3. Whoops. 48. It says, and laid open the book of the law. What's the book of the law? All right. It's the scriptures. Not the Talmud. It's the scriptures. This is ours, not theirs. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. All right? Pretending to be us. It's no accident, all right, that they started and profited greatly. And in fact, they were the chiefs among that with the transatlantic slave trade. It wasn't an accident. They came to the West Coast. They understood the history. Jake will not listen even to this day. He really thinks that they are Africans, Hamites. No. You fail to take into account the history. Who are those peoples that fled Roman persecution? All right, that were scattered, and the bulk of them ended up where? There you go, western coast of Africa, so-called. All right, where all those encampments, Fort Judah, Fort Benjamin, Fort Levi. All right, and they tried to have you discount all that. Oh no, that wasn't talking about you. Well, who else was it talking about? It damn sure wasn't them. You know, it's something of a strategy that when you think about the story of Joseph and Mary and Yahushua as a baby and how they had to flee because, well, let's get it. Same thing. Who were they running from? Let's see. All right. Here we go. Sorry about that. Why do you think this happened? The flight to Egypt, because there was a large, contingent of Israelites that were still there from the days of what? There you go. And when they were departed, this is verse 13, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt. Why? Could it have to do with this? Yeah. And be thou there until I bring the word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. All right. Because it was foretold, say, who is this? What? And he's there listening. All right. What? You're going to have as we saw briefly when I was in Luke, it says, when he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Most High by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. All right. All right. And this was all prophecy. But even then, when you get down to, get into it, even when this was going on, the so-called prophets of the time, the Pharisees and all that, they could not see this, especially the Pharisees. All right. So let's continue on with this.
Which is the first act, according to the convention, of genocide. And Israel, I must say, is also perpetrating act number 2 and 3, that is causing serious bodily or mental harm, and creating conditions designed to bring about the destruction of the group by cutting off water, food, supply of energy, bombing hospitals, ordering fast evictions of hospitals, which the World Health Organization has declared to be, quote, a death sentence. So we're seeing the combination of genocidal acts with special intent. This is indeed a textbook case of genocide.
Can you talk about the displacement? Israel saying that the entire northern Gaza, now hundreds of thousands of people have complied, must move south. The northern part of Gaza is the most populated with Gaza City.
Definitely. I mean, as is well known, this is an impossible order. It's impossible for specific groups of people in hospitals, people defined as disabled, elderly people. Many Palestinians refuse.
And they know this.
Because of their histories and their memories of the Nakba. This is an impossible order. It's yet another indication of the intent to destroy, the intent to commit genocide. It's also worthwhile to emphasize Defense Minister Yoav Gallant's new term that he coined, complete siege. It seems like a completely new term that really takes what was already a 17-year siege on Gaza, the longest in modern history, which is already a clear violation of international humanitarian law, and makes this siege now turns into a complete siege.
They don't give a shit about international law. These motherfuckers are above all that. That's what people don't understand. They say why this shit keeps coming, continues on, because, they threaten them with, they don't worry about this shit. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Who rules? The elite banking families rule this. They don't give a fuck about your laws. And yet, people still think, oh, that's conspiracy theory. Really? Really? See, these people, for the most part, have been ruling with impunity. All right? The laws are set up, if you want to call them their laws, I would say, are set up to where they always have a back door, a loophole. All right? Again, this whole system, this whole thing, these people have to be brought down, have to be pulled down forcefully out of the power seat. And it's Yahweh Shai is going to do that. It tells you that in Revelation 19th chapter. He's going to have all the crowns. All right, he's going to wear them all. That's what that's about. All right, so we're coming to that point where he's going to try, and you know, we got this MOTB, all right? He's the C-hip. This is his ultimate goal. And once you do that, hey, Revelation 14:9 is what you got to look forward to, because you have in effect made him your God. All right? So let's continue. Eviction.
Why Israel is so explicit in its declaration. We've heard Israel president talk about evil. We've also heard about Biden's use of the word evil. EU leaders classing that as evil. It has to be said that for us,
I can't stress enough for the people. You watch this and you'll, whatever you say about me, but can't you see that these people are truly evil? How are you going to have millions of people evacuate in 24 hours? Many of whom that's all they've known all their lives. All right. Again, you want to call somebody an animal. But look what you're doing here. All right. All these things that you have done over the decades. All right. These false flags, all this shit. All this is coming out. And you're still going to have people, God dang it, Salaki. You're still going to have people that cannot see. They refuse to see you for what you really are. And I'm talking about those fake Jews, those Israelis. There's a difference between Israelis and Israelites. These people there now, you can't trace them back to the original inhabitants. It's like, he called them, they're rats. I guess it was, who was it, Ezra Pound that coined that? He wrote, I think it was a poem. Some of these nasty pieces of shit. But they're in the power seat. All right? And they have indeed, as it says in Revelation 20th chapter, they have deceived the world. All right? This is what they do. This is how they get down. And if you don't fall for their lies and deceit, all right, then they're going to get you with the other part of their blessing. That's the sword. Because might is right. Right? That's how they roll. My goodness, can't you see this? This is the way these devils operate. All right? You're going to try to force them. Another thing that's been in the news lately is this thing with trying to force people, all right, to live by your standards. And I'm thinking about those so-called African countries, in particular, Uganda, Kenya. They're trying to get to accept homosexuality. Well, all this goes back to that Talmud, which, again, has nothing to do with this. All right, people, for those of you that don't know, all right, a lot of you don't ask the questions that you should. Talmud is some crap that they wrote. A bunch of degenerate homos and pedophiles. It's hold on one second, hold on. I done made that. Like I say, I make a statement, I like to be able to back it up. When I said whoever wrote Talmud, this is what you're dealing with. Those are the thoughts of people like this. This is a map of registered sex offenders living in Israel. Look at that. Look at that. And these are your holy people? The biggest, well, I would at least say one of the biggest LGBT parades is in Tel Aviv, in the world. Is it not called Pink City? Why do you think they call it that? These are some vile, low people that have, as I said, they have deceived the world into thinking that there's someone that they're not, namely us. And that lie has profited them greatly. What we're here to do is educate. 2 Corinthians 10:4. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. All right, let's get that real quick. Keep that, have this image in your mind. All right, let it bake in. This is representative of the people that rule over you. Let's get that. 2 Corinthians 10:4. It says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua to the pulling down of strongholds. What's those strongholds? Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Is this not against? My goodness, people. Genesis 19th chapter, Leviticus 18th chapter, 22, Leviticus 20:13, Romans 1st chapter. My goodness, and others. They are contraries. All right? Contraries. Let's continue on.
Massacre of 1,000 Israeli civilians, a horrendous war crime that rightfully shocked many Israelis and many people around the world.
They allowed this to happen. This is what they do. Here is, hold on. Let me see. Maybe it's on this one I have to put, hold on. Let's see. No, it was. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Hold on. I lost track of. Let's see. Oh boy. I had it ready. And now I done lost. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, speaking of which, let's roll this real quick since I'm here. All right, this is what this idiot says. See, this is what they like to do. If you criticize Israel, you're a terrorist. All right, listen to this shit.
I am sick and tired of it. And I am disgusted. Not just by the atrocities, although that's enough, but by their accomplices here in New York.
Who is standing behind them? Eric Adams, the mayor of New York.
Marching in front of my office saying resistance. Let me tell you something. Rape is not resistance.
Make it sound good now. Make it sound horrible.
Murder is not a political movement.
But you do it all the time.
These people will end where evil always does, on the ashes of history.
No, that's you. All right. Just read the book of Obadiah. All right. Now, where is that? Where did I have? God, dang it. I hate when this happens. I had it all ready. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Oh. Goodness. I cannot. I am so. Salakia Akim. How did this. You know what? I'm just going to have to... Oh, boy. Let's see. Jeff. Oh, man. Covert. This is what they specialize in. This is an article, I just keep it in my head, from like 2011. Let's see. Let's see. Dang it. Hold on. Maybe it's the first one. No. Let's see. No. Where the hell is it? Here it is. The Zionist roots, Salakia for that, the Zionist roots of the war on terror. I just think it's one of my last videos I touched on it. But this is by Henry Makoff, PhD. And he says, remember this is 12 years ago, he says, until recently I accepted Israel's self-image as a beleaguered, peace-loving nation in a sea of bloodthirsty Arabs. The idea that this tiny state had imperialist design seemed ludicrous. But what if, unknown to most people, including Israelis, the world's power elite were using Israel to advance their new world order? They're all in on it. What do you mean, using them? What if Israel's role were to colonize the Middle East and to become the seat of the world religion? Israel's Sacred Terrorism, 1980 by Livia Rochach, a 63-page online monograph, suggests that this bizarre scenario may not be so preposterous. Rochach's monograph is based on revelations from the personal diary of Moshe Sharat, who was Israel's first foreign minister from 1948 to 1956 and prime minister from 1954 to 1956. According to his diary, all right, which Israel tried to suppress, Israel's image of vulnerability was a ruse. Israel has always planned to become the dominant power in the region and invented dangers, all right, in order to dupe its citizens and provoke wars. In his diary, Sharat quotes a conversation with Army Chief of Staff Moshe Dayan in May 1955. We face no danger at all of an Arab advantage of force for the next 8 to 10 years. Reprisal actions which we couldn't carry out if we were tied to a security pact are our vital lymph. They make it possible for us to maintain a high level of tension in our population and in the army. You see? You see how these devils operate? In order to keep their own people in line, all right, they act like they're so afraid and everyone's after them, all right? Man, this is, hey, covert aggression. Now let's continue, all right? Again, they say they face no danger at all of an Arab advantage of force, all right? It continues on. Without these actions, we would have ceased to be a combative people. Sharat concludes, the state must see the sword as the main, if not the only instrument with which to keep its morale high, and to retain its moral tension. It's a ruse. Toward this end, it must invent dangers. And to do this, it must adopt the method of provocation and revenge. What did I tell you about Iran? Just ran into being set up. Oh, we're going to give you, we will release $6 billion. And they made it, well, we released that. And this is what they did with. And above all, let us hope for a new war with the Arab countries so that we may finally get rid of our troubles and acquire our space. And that's exactly what they're doing. You black Hebrew Israelites, you got to go. You motherfucking Arabs, we're going to clean house. We're going to, and this is what's behind. This is the motivation behind. All right, they want a European, anyway, covert aggression. This policy of reprisals or provocation and revenge was also called covert aggression. The U.S. war on terror is a continuation of it. Essentially, it involves disguising a policy of aggression as retaliation for sham provocations. They'll sacrifice. I hope you realize that by now with who you're dealing with in this so-called white man. Especially these Amalekites, these so-called Jews. All right, they will sacrifice as many of them as it takes in order to achieve their goal. All right. For example, Israel patrols would cross the border to attack Jordanians or Egyptians and then claim the actions took place in Israel. Once attacked, the army persuaded the aggressors into enemy territory and wreaked havoc. Ariel Sharon was the leader of a squad, Unit 101, that specialized in these murderous forays. His 1953 raid on the Jordanian village of Kabaya killed dozens of civilians. In March 1954, an Israeli bus traveling between Eilat and Beersheba was attacked and 10 passengers were killed. The UN Armistice Commissioner, a Colonel Henderson, said, "From the testimonies of the survivors, it is not proved that all the murderers were Arabs." See? They'll dress up like whoever. All right? Do shit to provoke them and then claim to be the victim. This is their MO, people. All right, he attributed the attack, this is the Colonel Henderson, he attributed the attack to terrorists intent on increasing the tensions in the area. Thereupon, the Israelis left the Armistice Commission in protest because they had been found out. All right. We've been talking lately about, I did a video on that some years ago, the USS Liberty. All right. In an attempt for that ship to be sacrificed. This is the Israelis. All right. That did this. Pretended that they didn't know that was an American ship. And the survivors are saying, hell no. Oh, they knew. And it was a ship in the vicinity. All right. Anyway, back to this. It says, in June through July 54, an Israeli terrorist squad blew up many British and American institutions. Oh, speaking of which, in 1947, the King David Hotel. All right. And I forget who led that. Who was, oh man, he would be Prime Minister, Menachem Begin. That's who it was. He led that assault. They blew up that hotel. It killed, I can't remember how many British soldiers. All right. Yeah, they don't tell you that. All you have to do is look it up. Anyway, And July 1954, an Israeli terrorist squad blew up many British and American institutions in Cairo in an attempt to sour relations between the Arabs and the West, dubbed the Lavon Affair. Possibly this was a precursor to the attack on the World Trade Center, some 39 years prior. All right. But no, from 93. Of course, if you're talking about two, which was unsuccessful, by the way, but, you know, that was a practice run. All right. Let's see. From the point of view of covert aggression, if terrorism didn't exist, Israel would have to create it. Possibly Israel's security establishment inspired some recent attacks on Israelis. In some instances, the terrorists are described as white. Remember the sniper who killed 10 Israeli reservists at a checkpoint? If he were Arab, wouldn't he have struck again? Most Arab terrorism is no doubt authentic, but I wouldn't be surprised if at a critical juncture, Israel's security establishment was behind it. Of course. That's all I'm going to read. You know, points been made. I'll put the link to this in the description box, the link thereof. And I would advise you to, you know, copy this, download it, whatever, PDF it, whatever, so you have a personal copy. All right. In any case, let's see what's left of this. I don't think it's much, if any. Going back to, let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Sorry about that. Got to start all over. I hope not, but looks that way. Let's see. Where was I? Right about there.
Israelis see Palestinians, and that's why the lessons of the Holocaust actually were never meant to provide cover and rationalize state violence and genocide, but rather protect groups, especially stateless and defenseless groups under military occupation and siege from violent states. The lessons of the Holocaust are now very, very urgently to be sent to places and those facing violence and genocide.
Fraud. Straight lies. Who gives a shit about a Holocaust? A hoax. All right. Again, they have deceived the world, the professional victims. All right. You've stolen someone else's, namely my people's identity. Again, deceive the world into thinking that you're something that you're not. You're a fraud. Hey, Zechariah 9:6, as a matter of fact. A bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. All right, a fraud. One of the definitions, which is hard to find now, when you look that word fraud up, or I should say, bastard. One of the, that's why it's good to get these old encyclopedias and things of that nature, like before, maybe mid-50s. All right. And they'll tell you these things. All right, because a lot of what you have today is newspeak. All right, and there's a reason for it. All these, what do they call them? When you get these new books, damn it, I can't think of the word now. You know, they keep updating them, but that's not always good. All right, in fact, that's one of the arguments against going digital. All right. Because it's so easy to change shit up on the fly. But in any case, I'm going to stop it right there. I'm personally sick of listening to this individual. He pretends to come on and talk about, you know, these people that are getting slaughtered. But at the same time, you can tell. Yeah. Hey, so with that, hey, until the next video, hey, shalom, shalom. Continue to pray, especially in these times to come, because this devil is up to something. All right. So shalom.